Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see any new faces. Is that opposed to old faces? That wouldn't be politically correct, I guess.
Not an old one.
I snorted.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about new faces?
Sure.
Is it, does anyone ever think about, sometimes you see really nice shots either on Facebook or the next door from locals. Does anybody ever think about asking them if they want to join, or do you already know most of these people?
Well,
No, that's a good thought.
Mark had posted on Nextdoor fairly often, but I don't think he's done that recently. And I don't live in a next door neighborhood. So, it doesn't do me any good to search or do whatever. But if anybody wants to do it, that would be fine. And then we were talking about the Galloway Ridge group, or I guess more broadly, the Farrington Photography Club, and trying to invite some of them in. And they weren't upfront about wanting to join, but I kind of get that too. So if somebody on Nextdoor that would want to put the announcement out?
Well, I guess the one thing that we would need to do is to kind of agree on what kind of people we're looking for. In the past, I think it's been put out there like, anybody with a breath, come on and show up. And at times that's what we got. And then it would just go away or something like that. So, I think we want to be focused on the type of person that, we want to get into the group. I don't think we want to, just have anybody show up and accept anybody. I mean,
I think
You
it's too
learned.
late for that from me.
oh yeah, Tom slipped in. Okay.
You're on thin ice, Bill. You're on thin ice.
Remember, this is being recorded.
No.
We locked up with Kika. So we've talked about several people. I've asked Tony Daniel, who frequently has pictures, and he did express the interest about the other people. The Griner Man and a couple of the others are professionals. Bill and I talked about, so I doubt they would have any interest. If there's anybody like Tony that's just enjoys photography, that
Well, why don't
not
let's do this. Let's pick get together some way somehow at a regular steering committee meeting next week or whatever, and knock out the details on it. But it's a good idea to try again. And there's another thing that it hit me, and I don't mean to dump this on everybody. And again, it's probably something we want to devote more time to than we have this morning. But I had a call from the senior center, and Liz Latte, regarding one thing or another. And at the end of that conversation, she asked me when they opened back up in July if we were interested in coming back there. And I told her it needed to be a discussion among the group, because it would, if we went back there, it would have to be in the afternoon. But I just want to forecast that. That's something that's going to be coming. Maybe asking for email feedback after everybody has given it some thought, but wouldn't start until July when they reopen. Am I right about that, Larry? Is it July forecast for the time that?
Right. That's what the contractor said. And
Yeah.
he's been a little, unfortunately, like most projects going on today, he's been delayed from his original opening date. So he's about 6 weeks off. So that was the latest number, July 1st. But
Well,
it's
we'll
going to
get
be brand new. It's going to be a brand new room. It's it's totally rebuilt and expanded. So it's pretty large if we're going to be using the, one of the rooms that I was thinking about. So, I don't know about the setups and the hookups yet with regard to audio visual stuff, but
Yeah,
Well,
for
I
those
said-
that-
I said to Liz that we had gotten we've gotten along well with using Zoom, and that even if we were meeting in person, that bringing our laptops or iPhones or iPads or whatever might work out better than a remote screen. So that the AV might not be a critical issue. But okay,
And
well,
just for those that weren't around, we were meeting at the time once a month. So we'd have to find out and actually decide as a group, do we want to meet in person one time a month and on Zoom one time a month, or in person all the time? And the schedule that we had last time was once a month, and it was on a Wednesday, and it was from 2 to 4:30. So, just for your information, that's what it was before.
Okay.
Like Mike said, we had to do it in the afternoon.
yeah, and the thought of doing it one meeting on Zoom and one meeting in person wherever we go might be a good way to forge ahead. And Lynn just sent a note. I don't know, Lynn, did it go to everybody or just to me?
Just to you.
Yeah, there is the church that Lynn sourced for us. Lynn forced to us. Anyway, that she vetted for us. Let me put it that way. So that's an option. But they work better than the senior center. Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's forge ahead. I guess in a way it relates to the picture within a picture, but the tip today fell to me, and it has to do with depth of field and sharpness. And I'm going to keep this as quick as I can. There are going to be a couple of things I mentioned that'll get linked to the group in the next email that goes out. And so maybe this will whet your interest, and you can follow up if you want. But we've talked about depth of field in the past, and it's been pretty simple, which is not a bad thing at all. But the depth of field thing is have your lens wide open if you want a shallow depth of field, and stop down if you want a long depth of field, meaning on the wide open end f2.8 or whatever it goes down to, the smallest number, and on the long range f16 or whatever. So this is kind of an extrapolation of that idea, and I think that it really comes into play on the long end of depth of field if you're doing landscapes. And I think that's why it got brought up here, because so many times when Graham has talked about the picture within a picture, it's been within kind of a broad view, a long view of scenery or whatever. And I'm going to share my screen at this point. That's not it though.
Okay.
That's not it. I had two windows open and I clicked the wrong one. All right, here we go. Share screen. Okay, can you see that photo?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's probably too small, but if you download the article that will come later, it will be helpful. And let me get to hide
You
control.
can,
And then I'm going to go to view for full screen. All right, that helps some. And you may not be able to see it all at once.
yeah.
But I'll move down as I talk about it. I don't know how many articles I found on this subject. I mean, they all say pretty much the same thing, and a lot of them involve the same language. But I like this one because of the graphic. And there are three specific things mentioned in all these articles about depth of field and getting a long depth of field, if that is what you are after, as you would be with a landscape. And one of the things is to change the aperture. Now that's the one we've talked about. You know that on the far left, the person in the red shirt, that's aperture of f2.8. And then there's a middle one, and then the one on the right in the yellow shirt is f22 if your lens goes that far. And you can see in red out in front that when you change the aperture, that you really do stretch the depth of field. And at f22, you're going down from maybe 6 meters out to almost infinity. And if you go to the other end, you're going from maybe 6 meters to 8 or 10. So one way to get more depth of field is to close down your lens. The second one is to change the focal distance, and what that's meaning is the focal length of the lens. And what have I done here? Changing the focal. Oh no, I'm sorry. That I got a step ahead. Changing the focus distance has to do with how far away from the subject, the main part of the subject, you are when you focus. And if you have a lens at f8, again on the far left, and you focus at 1 meter, the depth of field is almost nothing. But as you go to the next focal length at f8, and if your main part of your subject is at 5 meters, you've stretched that zone of focus. And the last one is if you are shooting at f8 and you focus at 20 millimeters for the main part of your subject, then you've got a huge depth of field. So the farther away you focus from your camera to the most critical part of the picture you want to take, the shorter your depth of field. The closer the subject, the shorter the depth of field at a given focal length. And finally, in terms of the focal length of the lens, as in a 50-meter prime single focus lens or a 70 or 200, the longer your lens, the shorter the focal distance. The smaller amount, it's inversely proportional to the length of the lens. The longer the lens, the more shallow the depth of field. And so on the far left, the guy in the red is using a 28 millimeter lens set at f8, and that 28 millimeter lens gives you a great depth of field. And then on the yellow end, a 200 millimeter gives you a very, very shallow depth of field. And this I don't want to make it overly complicated, but I think it's a good illustration of what shutters or what lens aperture, distance to the subject, and focal length of the lens you're doing does to depth of field. Now, here's the scary part, and I'm not going to go into this other than to use the label. In these meetings in the past, one or the other of us has brought up the idea of hyperfocal distance. And there are articles that are book length on hyperfocal distance. But basically, it's just what you're looking at. But there are calculations that you can use that tell you I mean, they're as complicated gets. But if you really want to dive deep into this, there'll be an article on hyperfocal distance with the materials that go out. I read it. I think it's in the hyperfocal article. It's in one or the other, but it's talking about a internationally famous photographer and what he says about hyperfocal distance. And what he says is, I don't do that. I do it simply. And as it turns out, the way he does it, I picked up someplace in another source. And when I'm taking a landscape, I'm not calculating hyperfocal distance. I'm not thinking about anything but what is 1/3 of the way from where I'm standing into the scene. So if you're looking at a mountainside, you're looking through the viewfinder, focus on something that looks to be about 1/3 of the way out, and then you're done.
Yep.
Now, one last thing, then I'm done. There is a great app for camera phones. Just do a search for depth of field, and I think you'll find probably more than one. But it has rotating dials so that you can put in all kinds of variables, and it will tell you what your hyperfocal distance is. But the three-part chart says as much as I need to know about it. And so hopefully that's helpful.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, Mike.
I don't know how much time I took, but all right, we're ready for photos. The first one and the second one and on is Bill. I blew up that. Now it's too small. Well, come on, Mike. I don't know what I've done. All right. There's more to this picture than maybe you can see, but at the very bottom, you can see the railway lines disappearing.
Right, this was a train station up in High Point. And my wife was in some kind of training in Greensboro, so I decided to take a run up here. It was kind of a harsh day, which was normally pretty bad for photography. Of course, I took it in color originally, but it just didn't do anything. So what it is, I just flipped it to black and white. And I learned a little bit about these two sliders called the white point and the black points. And it really brought the contrast out, and it really got the shadows to really turn black. So it was something kind of new I learned, but it made the difference between having a snapshot and an image.
Yeah, and I think that
so many great.
I think it's right to say this is perfect in black and white.
Yeah. And the thing I like, along with the shadows, are all the different shapes you have inside there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Triangles and, straight lines, whatever. It's just really, really nice.
Well, here's Bill's second.
Yeah, this was again an odd one that I found. This was actually, I started doing black and white stuff from things in our archive, because this was in Bordeaux, France. and I wasn't there over the weekend. So this was just an image that I took, and I changed it to black and white, and then I realized that on that grading down there, there were multiple shadows, and we have repetition in here as well, which I found interesting. There's some shadow from outside the building on the grate, and then there's shadows created by the grate. And then the mannequin on the left, the shoes were tack sharp, and the dress was kind of sharp too. But what I decided to do is to select the dress and put a blur on it, just so not everything in the image was really sharp or really defined. So
Well, if thinking about the next challenge, if it's not clear, the picture within a picture on this one, and as well as the second one, would be a perfect close-up of the grates, the two different textures of grates, and nothing else. It'd be really an abstract close-up.
Hey, Bill,
yeah,
could you talk a little bit about black point and white point and what that is? Are you elements? Are you talking elements?
yeah, I did it in the, and again, this is the first time, I'm not an expert,
Uh-huh.
but what I did is in Elements, I had to go to raw camera because this was originally a JPEG.
Oh,
And by taking those sliders and moving them, especially the black, I think it was to the left, it just made all the blacks that much more black. And once I got it as dark as I could, then I would work with the white slider a little bit to get the contrast between the black and the white. And it was more a poke and hope.
I don't,
so
It's like,
I don't want to
does it
mislead.
find absolute black?
excuse me?
Does it find absolute black? Is that the
I don't
idea?
know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't want to mislead, but I don't have it open. And it's not something I use a lot, but in Photoshop Elements under Adjust, where you can get to saturation, there is a pencil that you can click on white point and black point, I believe. So if you're using Photoshop, and that you can get without going back into a raw file, if I'm not mistaken. But here's a third one from Bill. Love the clouds.
Yeah, this was out at the beach, of course. And again, I just focused on that black line, that shadow up the center. What it was is that on the left, the sand was maybe 8 inches higher than on the right. And the tide had just gone out probably a few hours before it. And of course, I had the sunset going on, so I got that line. And then the line travels right up the beach. And if you kind of notice out there, there's like a little storm seeming to be brewing.
Right.
So it's just kind of, yeah, I saw both shadow in this as well as a line.
Were these originally in color or
Yeah.
was?
Mm.
They were, and I'll tell you, just playing around with these couple images tells me how much more I can go back and make a snapshot into something a little more dramatic.
Right.
The black and white, I mean, you would figure out on a beach with a blue sky and everything, you know, that's got to be good. Well, no.
Well, and that, there are a couple of ways to convert from color to black and white. And that sounds to me like maybe it needs to be a tips and tricks one of these days. There are a couple of different methods you can use. So all three of these are nice, Bill.
Yeah, very nice, Bill.
We
Good pick.
wish Betty well. Hers are the next two. And I'm going to skip through those to come back to them at the end. And this one goes to Kikob.
Hey,
Wow.
Beautiful.
wow.
Yeah.
So this was in Alaska in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. We were there last June on July on a base camping trip with some friends. So it was a great opportunity. The only thing I did to this was I have Microsoft Photos, which has a clarity slider that I can use. And also I got the pro version of InPixio, and I tried using that too. Sometimes InPixio doesn't work at all in making it clearer, but in this instance, I think I did just a slightly better job than Microsoft Photos.
Yeah.
And I guess here you can talk about depth of field.
Yeah, that's what I was looking.
Yeah.
And you know, this is a terrific landscape in terms of foreground, middle ground, and background. And the foreground is pretty sharp. There's a good amount of detail in that. And you're seeing what I'm seeing when I blow it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So going back to your discussion, this was at f2.8 and 24 millimeter
Yep.
focal length.
Mhm.
But I'm
And
betting
the 24 millimeter is what really allowed the depth of it.
Yeah.
and
And what's good about this too is that the mountains are kind of like on the bottom 1/3. You know, we talk about the rules of composition.
Right.
Yeah, if this was up maybe, halfway up or so, I don't think it would have worked as well.
yeah, good.
You had good clouds that day, you had good shadows that day, so.
Yeah, I was trying to get the tunnel funnel cloud in the middle of the two mountain ranges.
Yeah.
So
Good shot.
That's great. Nice job, Kiko.
thanks.
This also is Kikob. Love this one too.
Oh,
Oh,
that's great.
Okay. This one was on a beach just around Charleston, South Carolina. There's no adjustment to this photo except a slight cropping on the right side to make the shell a little bit more on the left third of the photo.
Okay, the one thing I would suggest is you said you have photos, and there's a function in there for straightening.
Mhm.
Because your horizon is low on the right, high on the. Wait, I'm
Opposite.
dyslexic, so I'm back.
Right. It's going down, put it that way.
Yeah, maybe just get that and just straighten it. And then you may want to go to the highlight slider and see if you can bring a little detail into that right top. It's a little hot, but I think it looks like there's enough detail that just might make it a little more.
Bill, I agree with you that the horizon is not straight, but the sand line is. So what do you do in a case like that?
Well,
I
I
go with
think you
those.
have to actually go to the beach and you realize that it is slanted.
Right.
Yeah.
that
Well,
that
submit
was
it.
my question also.
I don't
Submit
know,
it.
but
Go with the horizon.
my eye goes directly at the horizon.
And mine goes directly to the sand line.
Yeah. Well, submit this under
Sand line,
the
it is,
Well,
submit
That's
this under the
interesting.
heading of the Earth is round.
Yes.
And Kaba, I really like this picture too, and it's another good illustration of a really deep depth of field. Down in this left-hand corner, there is a discoloration. And I'm thinking that that is probably flare, meaning some kind of reflection off the lens, onto the sensor. And if that's what it is, they make lens hoods for to limit flare just like this. And so if you have a lens hood for a lens that's made for that particular lens, use it. If you don't have a lens hood for a lens you have, buy a rubber one that will unfold, that you can put on any lens. The other thing you can do if you don't, and again, if this is flare, and it may not be, but if it's flare, a polarizer might take it off. But one of the things that you carry with you all the time that you can reduce flare is your hand. Cup your hand around the outside, the very front of the lens, to put a baseball hat on it. In other words, just hold your hand between the sun and the front of the lens, and that may reduce it as well.
Yeah, I usually use my hand because I don't have anything else on the camera. In this instance, I think I had both hands in use because I had the down on the almost on the sand, and also turning the viewfinder so I could take the picture. But I think it is a little bit of the glare because of the way the sun is coming from the far right. I think it probably was a little bit of flare.
Well, if you can get into something like Photoshop Elements, you can copy areas of the sand over here and paste them in, paint them in.
Okay.
And it'll be gone, and you'd never know it was done in a texture that's fine. Is that fine? Good.
And since the texture down there is the same, I mean, you could clone it.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Blend that in there, so it would be gone.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the tips. I didn't do anything to this, but I like what you're suggesting and make it a little bit better.
It's a good shot.
Yeah, with the one that Bill suggested, maybe try straightening out the image and just see how it looks.
Yeah. And sharpen the shell image.
Yeah, Kikab, if you have my email address and want to send this to me, because I know you don't have the Photoshop elements, and maybe I can just try to do these things and I'll tell you exactly what I did and just send it back.
Okay.
Yeah. If you
By the
feel,
way, we're all getting
that'd be helpful.
permissions from Photoshop for recommending elements. Not.
All right. I'll look up your email, Bill.
yeah,
Send it to you.
Next is
Thanks.
Helen.
Oh, that's
Oh,
beautiful.
wow.
Wow.
This was taken with my antique iPhone. It is a puddle, and that is pollen.
That's pollen on there? Wow.
Pollen in the
Really
puddle.
lovely.
I love this shot because I love abstracts. And that's
Yeah.
what you do.
It's grainy.
Yeah.
It looks grainy because it is grainy. The pollen is large enough, or was clumped together enough that it was grainy when I looked at it before I took the shot. But it was like finger painting. I made some swirls through there, and I was having a good old time. And nobody bright eye and think, what is this crazy woman doing? I was about 3 inches from the pole.
You're right. Looks like an aerial view or a space view of a river valley.
Yep. Yep.
You got
And
the
Mike,
current-
Mike, could you flip it 180 to see what it looks like?
I'm sorry, say again, Tom?
Could you flip that 180 to see what that would look like? Just
Oh, I
Lovely
don't
the
know
way
if
it
I
is.
can do that or not. Turn yours, take.
Over
Okay,
here
we'll
on the
put that-
right-hand side, right above.
Take,
You can see that little square
yeah,
with
right
the
there.
arrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't notice that.
Okay, you did. Wow, that's interesting.
Looks great every way you put it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Well,
yeah.
Now that's
maybe
interesting.
one thing to do would be to get more, oh, shoot. Now, what have I done? To get more of the right-hand corner, trying to move this and blow up just that right-hand side. Now it's not cooperating with me. Now I've got something else in here that I don't want in here. But yeah, there's a picture within a picture on this one, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay, now maybe
I couldn't crop it much because the graininess began to be, of course, that's extraordinarily rough pavement showing through the water. So I felt like it
Doesn't
what
matter,
you
I
see
don't
is
think.
what came out of this old cell phone.
Well, there's
Well,
nothing.
your old cell phone took a great picture, Helen.
Yeah, I
The
think. so too.
textures are wonderful. Just,
Hey,
I
Betty.
thought it was fun.
hey,
All right. I was showing
oh,
a photo
wow.
to someone that has a
Fantastic.
degree in art, and she said classic still life.
Yeah,
Whose
that's
is it?
what I was wanting to go for here was the green. I've been going to the farmers market here and buying these beautiful greeny blue eggs. I was having to use, I need to get a light Frank has. So I never could get the greenness of the eggs to show, but I did the light showing through the bowl and
Beautiful
the
photograph.
shadows.
That is nice. Really nice.
Beautiful.
Really
You can see
nice.
You can see the texture on the eggs,
Yeah.
and there's
Mhm.
shadows within shadows within shadows.
Yeah,
Super.
nice. Very nice, Helen.
I'm going to do one
you.
more and then we'll come back to Betty's that we skipped earlier. But neat stuff, Helen.
Yeah.
This
Thank you.
is Bob.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was, this is on Jordan Lake, off of 64. I cropped it a little bit. It was not a real bright day, and there's some shadows off of the trees. So that's kind of all I did. And that's kind of it.
Really nice.
Lovely, lovely.
Yeah, I like the bright with
back-
sunlight on the trees in the background, the darkness in the front here.
Well,
So I have a question. You know, on the right-hand side of the photograph, as I'm looking at it, you have a tree right on the border, and I think I've asked this before, and I never can figure out: is it better to crop at the middle of the tree or to let the edge of the tree be seen? Anybody see what I'm talking about?
yeah, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mostly I wanted the tree to be straight, and not have half of it in and half out. But
Yep.
your question's a good one, because I didn't consider whether
I
it's.
mean, I just wonder if there's a rule of thumb for that kind of thing or not, if anybody knows.
I don't think so, Tom.
It's a problem. It's just a
think maybe-
problem every time.
Yeah.
Maybe for this one, maybe to crop the tree out, because if you're going for the thought of shadows, that's one of the trees that's probably the lightest. Maybe you want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well,
I
this,
can't tell you, I
This-
can't tell you why, but I would have cropped that out.
the other thing, and I don't know what this would look like, but another thing to do would be to turn this into a portrait, and have the tree that's vertical kind of in the middle, and that tree be the boundaries on both sides of the photograph.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Just an idea.
I was gonna turn it into a portrait, but I couldn't talk my wife into wading into the water.
Oh. For you punsters out there.
Yeah, I think you're out on a limb on that one.
That's no pun intended.
That was good.
And
Still
again,
water,
maybe just
still waters run
looking
deep.
into,
Yeah.
looking into black and white
Exactly.
might be interesting too.
Well, good job, Bob. I'm gonna go back to
Thanks, Bob.
Betty's. That's the first of Betty's.
Right.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Oh, that's neat.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, what do you think it is?
Well, it's a down view onto a patio.
COVID test.
Right.
sitting on
Yeah.
Okay.
That actually was taken with an iPhone through a window up high.
Oh, okay.
And it was
So
747.
there's some limitations to that, but I
It's a
like
very
the
striking
shadows.
photograph.
And
Pretty cool.
the hardest thing was, of course, because there was a patio underneath it that had, again, this parallax kind of view
Mhm.
going down. And I kind of agonized about what in the world, how to do that. Even went to to Photoshop elements, played around with all the things that people talked about last time, which was great practice. That was good. But this was about as good
Yeah.
as I could get with that.
Yeah, and I think
And I just covered the extra shadows on either side of it with a little more vignette to try to get
Yeah.
the attention then away from the lines.
Betty, if you
The orange and black are just
those
dramatic.
vertical lines, the table may have gone out of shape. I don't know.
Mm. Right.
I think the color contrasts are really amazing. The orange.
Yeah.
And so
You
much
can give it
detail
orange.
in the shadows everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that. I mean, that was shadows in big time.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
And the reflection of the window in the shadow on the table.
Yep.
The table shadow has the reflection from the window, I assume. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very dirty window, I'll tell you that. That's where the haziness comes from. So,
Nice,
Well, and
nice and
Betty,
clear here.
yeah.
Betty, before you joined the meeting, we were talking about challenges coming up, and the one after the next one is through the window, and I nominated you to do the tips and tricks that day.
Okay.
Actually, I think I'm not going to be there for that meeting. So sorry about that, Mike.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a nice
actually.
trick.
Yeah, actually, I've been taking a lot of, bird pictures lately through the window. So I'm even if I can't be there, I'm going to be sending them in.
This is
This
terrific.
is not through the window. This is,
This is a bird
can you
dog.
tell what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, dog.
Bird dog.
The shadow of a dog on the.
It's perfect.
What's the bottom? I mean, it looks like a dog at the top, and then I'm getting confused at the bottom.
There's feet. Do you see the feet of the dog?
The
Yeah.
two
The
paws,
actual-
right.
The toenails of the dog
Yeah.
and everything, and
Huh.
casting the shadow into a puddle.
Oh
Yeah.
my,
That's great.
Wow.
wow.
And the surface is, just the road. I was just walking the dog. And I saw this in the puddle.
Yeah.
And after convincing her that she had to stand still for a few seconds till I got my iPhone out.
That's
And then the ripples make it feel active.
Yeah.
That's an amazing photo.
I love it.
And the leaves add a lot to it too.
Yeah,
that's great.
matches her coloring, black
Yeah.
and white. And
The coloring is beautiful in this.
Okay, thank you.
Well
Yeah,
done.
fantastic.
I liked it.
Good.
Wow.
All right, Larry.
By the way, the one I not said last one was taken with my DSLR, not my iPhone. I can't do all of them on my iPhone.
Just Larry's?
Yep, Larry.
Okay.
And this is a parking lot.
Yes.
In Oregon, you can tell you're in Oregon because of all the moss. Even on the concrete, it's full of
Yeah.
moss.
Right.
This is by the Sandy River, which is a tributary of the Columbia. My grandchildren were on the shore, and we were walking down past this, and I saw the shadows, and I said, well, I'll see what it looks like. And so
The color
what I
in it, the color in this is just amazing. And the sidewalk takes you into the frame. That's good too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nice
leads your eye
angle.
out there. That's really nice, Larry. And great shadows coming off those trees.
Yeah, and sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
as you can see, it was a pretty sunny day, but I was looking for an image that might work, and this did, so that was great.
Yep, it sure did.
Nice, really nice.
This is Larry too.
Again, this is right by the river, and I just love the moss on the branches. And the shadows that were created by the trees behind it. It was just, I just turned around, the river is actually right behind me. And so I just turned around and said, oh, this is shadows. So it was kind of a one-off thing, you know.
It's nice.
Nice, Larry.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, Tom.
That's good.
Now there's a picture within a picture.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah.
I call it door dog.
Yeah.
That's my closet door. I turned over one morning and I saw that guy there and I thought, oh, gotta get up and get the camera.
Yeah. Now what's sticking
great.
out of the door?
My bathrobe.
Oh, okay.
I think
That's good.
I think I would paste in some eyes in those two thumb holes.
Yeah, put a mouth on there too.
You know, the
Put some Marty
shadow.
Feldman eyes in it.
I
It's
stepped
the
on.
light coming, by the way, it's the light coming through a rattlesnake plant, which is across the room.
Oh, okay.
I was
No, 'cause
about
I like
I was about
the
to
shadow
say
that
above
shadow looks like a couple of ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, it's just kind of cute.
Yeah.
That's a nice job. Whoa.
Spooky.
Oh, wow.
Really
Yeah.
spooky.
Yeah, I thought that's what I thought. That's what I thought. This was kind of I used a technique with my affinity. That tree that's in the very center, right over the top of my head,
Mhm.
it was not visible, and I brought that out with software.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Using
Wow.
kind of a
Selfie.
new technique.
Mhm.
Hey, Tom, what was the light source?
This was my brother's deck light.
Okay.
It was,
That's why.
we'd been having dinner and it got dark and I just, yeah, so it was some outdoor yard light.
Looks great.
Oh, nice, because it falls off just above the shadow, so it kind of gives an eerie feeling, you know, the darkness out there in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was saying spooky, maybe even before it popped up on your screens, but
It'd be great for a book cover.
yeah,
You know.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Shadow monster.
There you
All
go.
right. Susan. Oh, I take it back. Oh, this, yes, Susan.
Yeah.
That's so similar.
I wanted to say Tom.
So
because
this-
it kind of, I wanted to say Tom because I thought maybe you were using the same feet. This is shot.
Yeah.
last.
Well, and, you know, it sort of looks like a Tom picture. This was in California, the flower garden. And I knew I had to take pictures for shadows, just had my iPhone. So I took this and I purposely included that pink lemonade in there. And then I thought, I mean, it was really kind of wonky and I took it out, but somehow without the pink lemonade, it didn't look the same. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same color as the flowers. I love it.
yeah,
Darn close.
Is that your shadow?
that is my shadow. And then my cousin and my sister's feet. I asked feet in there.
Nice.
So-
Yep.
It's well placed.
Permission.
That's
It looks
great.
good.
Very nice.
Also, Susan.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
This one I almost didn't include and Mike actually encouraged me to include it, so I did. One of the things as us being in a photo club, when you're flying across country, you know, I always sit by the window and it just amazes me that people don't look out because looking down from, you know, when you're flying cross country is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I took out my iPhone and it's through the window of the plane, which is kind of, you know, and my iPhone isn't the greatest. It, you know, it's an XR with just one little camera thing. So, but anyway, I took this.
That's a good picture.
Yeah,
That
with
is.
nice lines too.
The nice thing, every time I'm on a plane, the damn wing is going across the picture. So you know, you were in a good spot on the plane.
Well, a lot of my photographs had the wing and then I just kind of tried to move over. But the
Yeah.
other thing I thought was kind of interesting is when you're looking down, you don't know which things are actually shadows and which are
Yeah.
water, and it takes a while. So anyway, I realized these were shadows.
Wow. That was
Well,
nice.
It's
Good.
nice,
I like
nice
it.
texture.
Pretty cool.
I like this a lot, and that's why I encouraged it. But you know, I think Susan said originally that it was a little soft, but with a little sharpening, you might be surprised at what could come out of the detail is already there. And the other thing I wondered about was making this even more abstract by using some of the filters that would do pastel, I don't know what, as a filter to make it less realistic actually, but it's a good photo. And again,
Thank you.
You-
even
Mhm.
details down into the shadows.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
I
the
think what's
clouds.
amazing is in the upper left, you see the clouds and then you see the shadow of the clouds.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah, and I did keep that in there. You know, some of the suggestions from Photo Elements was to crop that out. And I thought, no, no, I'm gonna leave that there.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
Mhm.
All right,
I like it, Sue. Really nice.
Yeah, I like it too.
Frank.
I'm up.
Yep.
All right. This was taken about a couple of weeks ago. I was down in the Farrington Village and I went behind the inn and they have that pergola out there and it was a bright sunny day. And, you know, I went underneath it and looked up. I got these nice repetitive lines from the sun shining through off of it. And then I like the fact you had the ones going down plus the ones going at an angle at the bottom.
Right.
And the only thing I did was I just cropped it a little bit. Plus, I just increased the contrast. So the black, it's not a black and white. It's still in color, but it just made the black blacker and the white whiter. So that I think it helped it a bit.
I like the abstractness of this one too, Frank. I think that
Mhm.
in terms of cropping, I think I would crop out the part at the very top.
Okay, all
because
right.
That,
Good point.
I think it would be even more abstract looking if that top part was gone. But I love the
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, you're right.
Love the shot. This is Frank
Good
as
pick.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this one, a couple of weekends ago, I was down in Charleston and it was in the afternoon. The sun was going down behind me, so it was very bright. And we came across, out onto the main street, and I saw this building, and the sun coming through the trees was casting this eerie shadows on the building. So I just, I thought, and I liked the coloring in it. So
Mhm.
that's why I took this one. And really all I did here was just do a little cropping, because on the lower left-hand corner, there was a sign on the building. So I cut that out. And I had just caught the top part of it and cut that out. And then again, just a little more contrast on it to make the shadow stand out a little more.
Was the building pink, Frank?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I was wondering if that
it
was
had a
just-
definite pink. And what the shadows were darkening in it, and the sun glaring down on that bottom
Yeah.
of the left window just blew that out a bit.
I really like the colors in this. I just
Yeah.
think it's so amazing. The different, the different colors.
Yep.
Wonder
So-
what would happen if you just cropped it so that the one on the left with the yellow, if in other words, if the second window weren't in it, taking the crop way over to the edge of the
Yeah.
other window, but not including it. No, yeah, I mean that even further to get the branches. I don't know.
Just to the left
Make it-
2/3. Yeah.
Make it more.
Yeah,
You're
so
saying
that-
highlight the
middle.
left window, right?
Right, so it
Go
isn't
all
in
the
the
way
middle.
over,
So do
Take it
do as a
over all-
vertical.
all the way
All the way
over to
over
the
the
other window.
branches.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There you
there.
go.
right there.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. Let's see
Yeah.
what that does. Or more top and the bottom even,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just to get the picture on the left side. And I
Yeah.
like odd number things, 1, 3, whatever. So
Right.
that immediately,
Betty, I was thinking the exact same thing. So
oh, okay. So with
that's
odd
another-
ones.
Another idea for that too, yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Good job, Frank. Lynn.
Thanks.
This should have been called abstract.
Oh,
Whoa.
We've had so many of these, and this is a great one.
That is.
I took this with my phone and I took another one with my regular camera. And in processing, I couldn't make it look the same way that I did with the software of the phone.
Is that right? Wow.
yeah,
So
yeah, it's
I like
nice.
this a whole lot.
That is great.
Very.
beautiful.
And
Did
what
you change it any? I mean, did you do any
Oh.
post-processing on it or?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so what did you do?
Oh, it was just a brightly colored picture with the palm front. It was taken inside my son's house. So, I used a lot of stuff on it to make it look like this. And I changed it to black and white.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Did you use Lightroom? Is that what you're using?
no, I did this on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So you did all of it on the iPhone,
On my
the
phone.
post-processing.
Right.
Mhm.
As I
How
was
did-
saying, I took the similar shot with my camera and tried to process it in Lightroom, and I couldn't make it look like this.
Yeah, no, I have that same experience sometimes, especially with these nice kind of translucent or shiny or things like that. The phone seems to
Yeah.
be particularly good at post-processing that.
I just pulled in all the blacks and anyway,
Mhm. Yeah,
I
I like it.
Good picture.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Lynn, which iPhone do you have?
The 12 Pro.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh,
and you can move photos from the Photos app into Lightroom. That may be the
Correct.
best, that may be the best of both worlds. But this one
Well,
terrific as
Yeah.
it is. All right, good job, Lynn.
thank you.
And Leslie. And here's another one that
Ooh,
That-
yeah.
that fits
Oh,
the
that's cool.
abstract theme.
That
Oh,
is,
that is.
This knocks my socks off.
That's just the skylight in my kitchen. I didn't do
Oh.
anything to this picture.
Wow.
wow,
There, yeah, really good.
the
I
shapes are
I like
amazing.
nice angle that you've got it at too. The whole angle is really such
Yeah,
a,
I took several photographs at different angles, and this was the first one I took, and it just, all the others paled in comparison.
yeah, yeah.
There's just something really,
It
I don't
hits
know,
it.
it gets, you know,
Right.
it sort of, I have a physical reaction almost to this photograph.
Yeah,
Some,
I do.
Mhm.
I do
it's so
too.
crisp.
I wondered if Leslie had cloned out the white and the blue and surrounded it with pasted in black, but you know, it's really a shadow. And I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's the second, Lynn. I'm sorry, Leslie, that down in the
Uh-huh.
bottom right-hand corner, you can see a recessed light.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, I can't see it. Huh.
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
so-
yeah,
Yeah, I see.
Oh, I can barely see it.
yeah, right. There it
Yeah.
is.
Well, your eye is better than mine is. I still can't see it on my computer.
Well, it is a great shot.
So
And
how did
it's
you-
not-
What?
How did you get the black background then?
It just, I mean, that's what happened.
Oh, the shadow was that strong.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Like the reflection in the sky, you know, the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that triangle that's formed.
And the little cobweb in the corner.
Yes.
It exposed.
Lynn, I think in the same way, I've
Not to
got
do
one.
anything with.
I'm going to submit one that I pick up a branch dome through the sky. We do through the windows.
Mm.
You had one of a.
We were
of a
thinking in
leaf
the
on your
same way.
skylight, didn't you, Helen? A leaf on your skylight?
Huh?
I
Yeah, I've had the
one
leaf
way
on the
back when.
skylight, and now I've got a tree. Yeah, a tree coming. So Leslie and I are thinking along the same lines.
Yeah. Well,
This would be a
you know,
great canvas picture
Yeah.
for your
This
wall.
is my other one.
Oh, goody.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
This one I did a lot of post-processing with, which I've never done before, but I used the black point again. Let's see, I took the brilliance up, the black point down, and the definition up 50% in iPhoto.
Right.
I just
Hmm.
wanted to
Yep.
soften it a little bit. It's a wooden sculpture. Here, I can show you. I took this outside.
And Leslie, when you say,
Ah,
Leslie, when you said you tweaked the black point, were you using elements?
No, I did that in iPhoto.
Okay,
There's a black point in iPhoto.
okay.
Mhm.
And, you know, I was just fiddling with all of the different things you can do. And this is what I ended up liking.
Mhm. Mhm. It's nice, subtle.
Yeah, I think that's, it.
Very
The
nice.
subtlety of it was what I liked, sort of like it. The shadow is almost the same color as the background sort of a thing.
The
Great
thing that-
contrast to your other one.
yeah.
I think the thing that stands out most to me in this too is that the shadow is not straight up and down. It's
Right.
angled, going from the lower right up to the upper left. I think that really adds to it.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. I didn't want something.
Good.
just
No, that
straight
was a
on.
nice job.
Thanks, thanks. Well, that's my post-processing experience, folks.
Good job.
You did well.
Well, Mark is still with us, and these are his photos.
Oh,
Oh,
lovely.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, hey, everybody.
hey, Mark.
Hey,
Good.
I'm on my cell phone. So, Mike, I don't know what photo you're showing.
Oh,
I
it's
don't know
the
what it is.
towel.
The towel rack?
The
Yep.
The towel
towel.
holder.
Okay. first and foremost, you folks helped get me almost all the way up to Richmond, and I have enjoyed all the images. It's been great fun looking at what you folks have done. Mike, can I take 10 seconds for a commercial?
Sure.
I'm going to take it anyway. For those of you that were original members of InFocus, we had a presentation early on from Doc Ellen, the avian veterinarian that talks about eagles and osprey and all that stuff. The Chapel Hill Camera Club, we will have her doing a presentation on April 14th. And if you're interested, it's outstanding. I will send it to Helen, the link to Helen. And if y'all would like to join us, we would love to have you. But I heard several of you talk about shooting some wildlife and some birds, and somebody about Alaska and some other things. And it's a wonderful presentation. So if you get a chance to view it, that would be good. Also, I heard from Bill that he photographed the railroad station in Salisbury, which is a great place to go and shoot the train. I think it cost Bill, what, $6 or something like that to get in. So that was great. The towel image.
Yeah, I didn't go to the one down in Salisbury.
Oh,
there's
okay.
one
I
down
thought you did.
the New Hope Valley down in Bonsai.
Okay. Well, this is the North Carolina train station in Salisbury. It's a great place to go. It takes about an hour and a half to get there. Graham and I went there one day and did some shooting. But in any case, so much for the commercial. The towel image, this was a scouting image. I was brushing my teeth one day and I looked up and there was this terrific shadow, and I've taken a shadow. It's not my genre. And I thought, well, I'll take the shot with my cell phone, and I did, and I played around with it, and it got me real interested in shadows, so that now I'm going to take the information off the image and set it up to use my camera, because I know what time of day it's going to be there. But it's pretty heavily cropped. It doesn't have the side of the window and the top of the tub and all that kind of stuff. But it got me real interested in shadows. So I didn't do anything to it other than crop it a little bit. I didn't adjust it because I wanted to get the raw information. So when I set my camera up, I can better shoot it through my camera. So that's that. I still can't
You have
see
an
it.
eye, that's for sure. It's a great
Yeah,
photo.
there it is. Yeah. This image, and I think your challenge was, I thought it was silhouettes and shadows. This is a couple of divers. I was at the Virginia Tech diving championships, and that orange thing behind the divers, they're on the 3-meter board, and the girl is actually wiping her leg with a chamois, and she's conversing with the other guy they're getting ready to dive. And the light was incredibly difficult because that orange thing is a curtain. And when I was there in the morning shooting, it was open, which really created some light problems. But they had it shut, and I thought, what in the world am I going to do with that? And so that's the shot that I got, and the kids really liked it, and they put it on the profile page, and I like it. So it's a silhouette. And Mike, I don't know, can you look on your information sheet and see how I shot that? I didn't have time to go look at it. Does it tell you?
Well, I'm using Preview on a Mac, and I don't have access to EXIF data the way Graham used to have.
Okay. Because it was about 40 meters away, and I'm guessing it was, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember what the data was on the shot, but anyway, that's just a silhouette shot, and that's it.
Awesome. I love that.
Really good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here's another scouting. I call them scouting shots. I was sitting at the desk and I was doing some work on a computer, and the sun was coming in through the back window, and whoa, look at this shot, and it's just the back of a door, and it's the shadow of a lamp. And so again, I'm going to use this as a scouting image, so I can set my camera up at that exact angle, and I know what time of day to do it. And really, this challenge was really good because it's forced me to get out of my comfort zone, but I had a lot of fun with it, and I enjoyed presenting it to you folks.
Yeah.
That's
I
all I
hate
got.
Great.
I hate to break this to you, Mark, but the next time you go back to this, the shadow's not going to be in the same place.
It probably won't be, but at least it'll be a good start. Yes, you're right, Mike, because this was about 3 weeks ago. Thank you very much. I wasn't going to say that, but you just spoiled my tea party.
Great.
Spoiled my party.
Well, we rocked and rolled today, 24,
It was good.
and a lot of everybody had a good shot. I mean, it was a good list.
Yeah.
And like Mark just said, is that we kind of got out of maybe a comfort zone a little bit. And I think it was good because like those shots that I had in color, I started using the thought process of converting it, where Mark's shots were black and white because it was, the image that he saw in front of him. So to be able to think of the image differently than just the way you took it. We heard some things like, well, how about if it was a portrait instead of landscape? Yeah, what if it was black and white? So just to keep the thought process of, how can I make this picture different than what I originally shot it? And I really like the stuff that I turned into black and white. And I think it drew me a little extra interest in me to do more of it as well.
It's fun to play around with. Take an image and convert it over and see what you get and what you can play with and adjust.
Or flipping it 180 degrees or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, sometimes we
As a
take
si-
the
as-
image
as a-
and we just see it that way, but I think we learned a lot today.
Yeah.
As a
Good.
sidebar, for those of you that like to shoot the birds at the dam, I was there yesterday. The osprey are incredibly active. The ringneck gulls are incredibly active. It's potluck if you can get an eagle. They're pretty much settled down now. January, February, their time. You'll see some down at the far end of the dam, but the river's high. I mean, it's really flying, and I'll tell you, it's really tricky, to photograph. I've gotten real intrigued in photographing the gulls because they catch their fair share of fish, but they're fast. They're elusive and they go 40 different directions, but if you can catch them squawking at each other, it's a lot of fun. So
What's the best time, Mark? Mark, what's the best time?
If you go, the best time I think is late afternoon, when the sun is behind you. If you go in the morning, unless it's really early, the sun's going to be kind of in front of you. So I'm talking about if you go before 9, you're okay. But between 9 and 12 or so, the sun is going to be off to your right shoulder, sort of into your camera, unless you climb down the rocks and you're level with the water, which is it's hard to do. I'm always afraid I'm going to fall and break everything, but it's fun. It's a lot of activity. I'm telling you, there's friggin' birds everywhere, man. It's it's awesome. Awesome. Take your tripod.
And Mark, I don't want to startle you, but it's time to do some weeding in your car because you've got something really green growing in the passenger seat.
I have a car. I stopped in Raleigh at my son's house and I dug up at least 5 or 10 akubas, and my trunk is full. The side of my car is full. I got akubas everywhere.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you didn't show us a picture. It's a good thing you didn't show us a picture of anything illegal. Larry, when is what's the deadline?
You don't even know that.
Mark, you're being safe driving and doing the phone, right?
Yeah.
I am. I'm parked now. I've been parked since I started talking. And that's why I haven't been commenting on any because I've been driving.
Larry,
love what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
Larry, what's the deadline for Senior Olympics? Is it tomorrow or Friday?
Friday.
I tried to look it up, but
I don't have the schedule.
I got it. It's Friday, April 1st.
Yeah. Well, I continue to encourage you to to submit something to the photo groups. Give Mark some competition. So
Yeah, right.
anyway,
So,
good
one thing
meeting,
too,
you
it was
all.
good to see everybody last week.
Yeah, that was good. We need to keep
Yeah,
doing
that was
it.
nice.
Yeah. That was a good session.
It was good.
Have a good rest of the week, you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
Mike.
Okay,
Yes.
all
Later.
right, great meeting.
Thanks.
Yeah, it
Appreciate it.
was.